Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence. I'm Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called After the Rain. It's a 5 by 10, and did it in two passes. Basically, I did this start most of it a week ago, and there were some bits that I wasn't that happy with, and we'll probably get to those around the 12-minute mark, and you'll see what I did about it. And this is a scene I have painted before. I even painted it before as a monochromatic, but I ended up doing that, using that for a glazing demo, and really missed its monochromatic um, existence. And this came out looking totally different anyway, so just goes to show you can't really walk through the same stream twice. There will be a full-length version of this in the members area, um, which you get the blow-by-blow in real time. If that interests you, just click on that join button and join us there. There's also in the members area some exclusive content, like getting into how I work with my reference images, and that's something I've been wanting to go into on YouTube forever, but I'll be honest with you, it's such arcane wizardry and secrets of the highest order that I just couldn't release it to the public at large. So that's there. Maybe that's worth $6. I don't know. We don't know. You won't know unless you join. Anyway, let's talk about this. So we were off to a good start. We're painting with some, I'm pretty sure this is lamp black. Could be black spinel. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell at this point. It's not that hard to tell when you're actually working with it. I can tell you the biggest difference is the black spinel. You just keep adding oil and adding oil and adding oil. It just keeps holding up because the pigment's so fine, particulate. And that was actually something maybe I was wondering when I was going to sort of talk about. I read an interesting article about opaque pigments versus transparent pigments. Now, I used a bunch of different black pigments in my painting, but the one thing they've all had in common until recently was that every one of them was transparent in some way. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Technically, the spinel is rated as opaque, but it's so fine a particulate that I use it transparently all the time, and I've never really had a problem. But the monochromatic painting I did after this, I used Mars Black for the first time, and found I was really struggling because there was a lot of things I was used to doing with transparent pigment that I couldn't pull off with the opaque. So what is the difference between transparent pigment and opaque pigments is that it's not really that if you were to zoom in on the pigments with a, I don't know if you've ever seen like a microscope version of sand, you can see there's all this different little tiny shells and all these little very interesting things you wouldn't even perceive are there. When you look at pigment or paint through a microscope, you'll see the same sort of thing. You'll see most of the particles will be the same color, of course, because it's a pigment, but not uniformly. You'd be surprised. But how large are those particles? And how separated are they in the medium that they're being suspended in? And really what you have, the main difference between your transparent and your opaque pigments is that there's a heck of a lot. First of all, the opaque ones tend to be larger and denser, whereas the transparent ones have a lot more space around them and allow a lot of light around them. Yeah. So it's definitely huge differences while you're painting. If you're used to working with a transparent palette mostly, then there's a lot of things you can do that you cannot do with opaque palette, and the same thing goes. Now, for some of you may not even be that aware, opaque means that you can't see through it. It's like 100% solid like a wall or a door, whereas transparent, there's a little bit, it's like more like glass, or tinted glass is a great example. When you do a glaze, that's very much like, putting a tinted glass over something. You're basically skewing everything into one color, and that color is being suspended very lightly through the medium as you rub it over your existing painting. Anyway, very interesting, and not something I'd even really thought about. So now you can see in the sky here, it looks like I'm off to a pretty good start, but we have the start also of what was going to be the thing that bothered me and the reason why I didn't put this painting up. And I came in the next day. And lots of times you don't really see things until the next day. But first of all, I have a lot of shapes that are very similar. They're all like these sort of these gray diamonds that are laying on their side. And, even, well, I'll just call myself a professional painter. I don't need to, I was going to say a master. But I don't know if I class myself as a master. I have some mastery. How about that? I mean, even someone like myself, you won't see things sometimes as you're doing them. You won't see patterns. Like, it's so obvious to me as we're doing this video together. I can see those two gray shapes, one next to the other, and I'm working with stuff, but I didn't end up changing those. And when I go in and add more things to the sky, all I really do is reinforce the sort of almost like a spear point. And that when I walked in the next day, that jumped out at me to the degree where I was like, I don't like that. I don't want to share that on old YouTube. So I let it get good and dry, and then yesterday, actually you'll be able to see at our 12-minute mark on this video what I did to soften that, change that, adjust that. And you need to be aware of, so that'd be another good thing to talk about. We're only halfway through this video, is patterns that you create. You're always going to create patterns in your paintings, and what you really want to look out for is uniform patterns, like I call it 1, 2, 3 syndrome. You get that a lot in clouds, where you've got all your shapes are basically the same size shapes spaced the same distance apart. That looks bad. Even 1, 2, like we have here, we have this 2 gray. They're sort of subtle right now, but as I end up reinforcing the painting, it becomes less subtle, and it has to be addressed. So be looking for the patterns, and don't get down on yourself, because it's just an inevitable part of being human that you're going to create patterns. The real thing is to know, well, basically have a creator mind and an editor mind, right? The editor mind needs to come in, and ideally you're oscillating between these two. As your painting is being created, you're doing something, and then you're appraising it and judging it, and seeing if you like it the way it is, or if you need to modify it and change it and make it better. And this, of course, is a process that goes on in each painting, but it's a process that goes on through your entire career as well. And it's a very important part of being a good artist, is developing that capacity and ability to edit and to judge what it is you've done. And you need to be, it's a fine line, I think, between being too harsh and too, actually, funny enough, I was listening to a podcast, someone was interviewing good old Joe Rogan, and saying to him, well, you seem so humble, where a lot of people in your position are very arrogant. And he's like, it's like, I don't drink my own Kool-Aid. He's like, I don't think my stuff's that great. And for that reason, I'm always trying to improve it. I'm trying to get it better. And I definitely relate with that. I can see, sometimes I think I do things that are pretty dang good, but definitely see issues and in my work, and things that could be improved. Now, okay, now you see, like what I'm talking about, I'm already reinforcing this diamond shape. And these were in they were in the reference. But the thing is, like, these patterns in your reference will be more natural. Like when you translate them through your human vision and your mind, they're going to take on actual pattern type characteristics. But anyway, getting back into the editor versus the creator parts of your dichotomy, you don't really need to split them. I'm not the kind of person that sits there and splits my process into separate elements as I'm working. But the fact of the matter is that there is, action and then reaction. And painting is, mostly action, but you need to always come in and evaluate. How do I like this? What is up with this? What can I do with this? Sometimes with painting, with oil paint, I mean, since that's really the only medium I work with, it's really a matter of you might have to wait. Like this painting, when I saw that there were these patterns in the sky, I had to wait. I had to wait a week, and I chose to wait. And a lot of times I might have done a coat of liquid or something, but seeing as how I thought this guy needed a pretty massive overhaul, I didn't worry about coating it with liquid. And if you coated it with liquid, you would have been able to wipe off any changes you made. So if something's like mostly good, that would have been a good route to go. But I knew I had to just get in there and make a change. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to maybe talk about, and we're coming up on that. So right now we're about 20 seconds away from where I left it. And maybe could have left it. See, that's the other thing I don't like. If I could point, there's two lightest bits in the sky. They're about the same shape. And they're really, they were distracting to me. And it wasn't just them, it was the gray shapes underneath them as well that had to be adjusted. Anyway, oh yeah, so it's not the 12-minute mark. Here we are finishing up our first session right now. You can see finishing up. And we're coming up here in about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. New day. New day. It was nice you got to see a little bit of old Denny there. Yeah. So that's the place I would have normally put the video up. First thing I decided to do was just simplify things, I had a bunch of different things going on in the sky. I just kind of simplified them. One great thing about the monochromatics, I don't really have to worry too much about hitting those same colors again. Although one of the danger things was I did a whole study with Payne's Gray, which is basically blue. And I kept accidentally contaminating the paint that I was using on this painting, but I caught it all. Yeah, you would think a lot of people, when these are on the drying rack, they think, oh, those are blue. When you do a painting with the Payne's Gray, you can see how blue that is. Payne's Gray is actually a mix of bone black, ivory black, and ultramarine. So yeah, already looking better. Now, this is the other thing I want to point out, and because I know I'm always getting new subscribers, and if you made it to 14, then you're, we lose a lot of people around the 6 minute, 7 minute, 5 minute mark. I did not pull out the reference again when I went in to fix this guy, because that would not have helped me. It was interpreting the reference that got me into that spot. If I was maybe less, experienced as a painter, maybe I would have had some different reference up. But as it was, I just started slapping paint around and fixing my problems. Anyway, we are done with this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. Go to my website, buy a painting, or give me a donation if you got some value. And there's the member option if you're into that. So, till I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Please take good care of yourself, all your loved ones. Try and love your enemies. Be patient with people and stay out of trouble.